Miss Kayla Record.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Great. Hi. Oh, now, I probably don't need that, but I will need the clicker if you have it. So I know we are actually going to be a little short for this one, so I'm going to kind of go through quickly, but my slides are posted on there, and you can go through my slides at any point. I have a few really quick points I want to get across to you guys first. So, number one, as they said, that's the wrong direction. I'll go this way. Or not. Is it working? Maybe.
It's the big one that you
Yeah. Okay, now here we go. Okay, so if you could see these three images really quick, what do they have in common? I have a fighter pilot, pole vaulter, and if you can't tell, that is a neurosurgeon. Shout it out. What's in common? Anyone?
They all require a lot of energy. Like the person who's doing them.
That is true. So, what they all have in common is what I knew I was going to be. Those were my three careers when I was 18. That's very logical, right? Yes. I was going to be a professional pole vaulter, and yes, for the record, that is me pole vaulting. B, I was going to be a fighter pilot because I saw a movie and I thought that looked like fun, and I could do that. And I did not know that there was a height and weight requirement or anything that I would have to reach pedals for, but that's okay. I had a very clear goal. And unless those two failed, I was going to be slightly ambitious and maybe be a neurosurgeon. This is how I chose my career path. Super intelligent, right? Probably not the best way. Then my method for choosing my school was based on, I took a poll of all the kids in my friends and my groups, and I asked them, where are you going to college? And wherever the most of them said yes to, that's where I was going to choose. Yeah, exactly. I'm looking at the facial expressions right here. Yeah, I see it. I know. In my 40s, I could look back and be like, I was an idiot. But I can tell you, after working with over 600 students nationally and at all different ranges of ages, I haven't heard one of them that has had a clear path because you haven't known how to assess it. You don't know how to assess your skills. How many of you guys, show of hands, have ever been told by a teacher in some class somewhere that you are good in this class? This subject you're really good in? Hands? Hands? Hopefully everyone, right? Okay. So that clearly, do you know what that means? How many of you now have been told from you're really good in that class to how to connect that to why you're good in it, why you may like it, and then how does that transfer into a degree, or does it? Does it transfer into a life, a passion, or is it just a project, or does it go into a career? And what are the avenues? Anyone? Yeah? Few? Good. There's a large gap where I find most of my students fall into, and clearly I fell into that gap myself. The gap is, we're told, say we're good in math, or you're good at something, you're going to be a good engineer. Okay, what kind of engineer are you going to be? I don't know. I didn't really think that far, right? I'm good in science. I'm going to be a neurosurgeon. But I never understood why. What was the things that I was good at? What are the skills I was good at? Why did I like it? Why did I hate it? Come to find out, I don't like blood. Probably neuro, not a good idea. And I did actually go to college. I was the shortest, quickest, fastest, highest pole vaulter for 23 days. And then I was in a car crash and my world stopped. And while I had very similar to Dominic's experience, I was actually destined and practiced in tryouts for Olympics for pole vaulting. So professional pole vaulter was going to be my idea. And then 23 days later, I was told that you were no longer part of our college, you were no longer part of our program because we purchased you. Because I was an athlete. I was a scholarship recipient. And I just saw the looks on a lot of your faces That's what felt in my heart. I could see your eyes drop. Exactly. I was purchased. And so when I was purchased, the college said, I'm going to invest money in you. We'll pay for you. We'll pay for you to come. Come pole vault for us. We like you. And I said, absolutely. Right? Kind of like what Dominic talks about. I didn't check my ego. I kept it. And I kept it going up higher, higher, higher. Right? So once my ego hit over 16 feet, I was like, heck yeah. I'll take that scholarship. But I never had a backup plan. I never had a plan for anything other than that. I mean, other than my other clear, unlogical ones, right? I didn't need a backup plan because I couldn't understand why. I was invincible. And so, 23 days in, car crash. I am now no longer purchased. My competitor at the time, as I still remember her name too, Lindsay Winters, received my scholarship, took my place, and I was graciously, kindly greeted by our athletic directors and deans and said, good luck to you. Please owe us back tuition. Oh, and you needed to move your stuff out. I'm sorry, you're in the hospital. You cannot move your stuff out, but you do need to advocate for somebody to move your stuff out of our dorms because this is an athletic dorm. Good luck. So now what? So that's where my journey began. And over the course of my now almost 3 decades of doing leadership development, professional experiences, trainings, college prep, everything with students, with youth, being one myself, sitting in the same shoes, sitting in the same seats you guys have. Some of the lessons, and one of the quickest lessons I have learned to be resilient has been my mindset. And I get asked this a lot, why are you not better, or how did you get back from it? Because it took a year, 16 surgeries, and almost 2 solid years before I could actually walk. So getting back sometimes is not quick. But one of the fastest tools that I ever learned was, I had a coach that taught me once, it's about a line. And it's about action and control and time. And so at any point when I was in a class or I did a competition or you do something that you play or a part of, I know that you have had a bad practice, bad day, bad experience, bad conversations. Look down on the floor, and if there is a physical line in a field, if there is a line somewhere, or if there's not a line and you can just visually draw this line in your mind, draw it. Use the floor, wherever and however. And in one side, you get to feel whatever it is. You get to be as mad, you get to be happy, you get to be whatever. Whatever the negative emotions are that are coming to you from that loss, from the defeat, from that bad conversation, from that frustrations that you've had, right? You look at that line and envision it. And as you stand there, you're having your feelings. You're accepting and you're understanding and you're processing. And then you take, and when you get a chance and you decide to move on, you step over it. And when you step over, that's it. You move forward. You don't look back. You learn your lesson. You're intentional, you take action, and you take the time to process, but the time now is not wasted moving forward. And for me, that is something I have never forgotten. And that goes from college experience to understanding loss to having to deal with it, and a way to be able to develop from my careers, transition, and pivot. Because it's my choice, and it's your choice, and it's your power, and it's your control. And you're the ones that have that. You have to choose to do it, and you have to choose to step forward. But sometimes it's okay to stay put too for a little bit and just be who you are. Because sometimes who you are is teaching you that lesson, right? It's giving you that grit like Dominic was talking about. And it's very true. Her message was very true and resonates. So while I know many of you guys have to go very soon, and I have about maybe 5 to 7 minutes, I want to take and ask you really quick if I can have a few people just shout out. Think about the last time that you have had to use a Band-Aid and where it was. Exactly. Okay. So I know this is ridiculous. I told you I'm not conventional. All right. Who's got a time and a place? All right. What do you got?
Last night we stayed over here.
Yep.
And my toenail came off.
Ow.
I had to put a Band-Aid over it.
Okay, you don't need a neurosurgeon. Good. All right. Perfect. Band-Aid toe. Something different than a toe. Who do we got?
A softball game. Something snapped my hand.
Oh, good. Take that Band-Aid and put it on your toe, please. Okay. And now, over here. All right. I'm going to kind of cut through here. All right. What do you got?
I was wearing the wrong shoes and my heel started to bleed.
Okay. So now take that. And I'm sorry about your heel, but you got to take and put it on your toe. Good. Okay. Who else? Any arm extremities? Anything else?
My knee, I got spiked at softball and I had to get stitches.
Ouch. Ooh, I'm so sorry. Well, that Band-Aid isn't going to help you. You've got to put it on your toe. All right. So we have a lot of Band-Aids for our toe, right? Yeah. But that, if you were bleeding, that, I'm assuming that was a problem, right? Injury, blood, right? That happened. So clearly the logical solution is the Band-Aid, right? Stops bleeding. But why doesn't it work? Did it work for every one of you? If I gave it to you, and now everybody has to put it on their toe. My 5-year-old falls and scuffs her elbow up, and I'm going to give her a Band-Aid. I'm going to say, I'm going to put this on your toe. Why didn't that work? It doesn't? No? But it worked for our first person, our first example. Right? Worked for your toe? Yeah. Toenail's good. It's nice and protected, right? So, if you remember anything, remember the Band-Aid. One size, one solution does not apply to everything. It might be the solution. It might be the thing that you are using. And it might help fix some things, but it is not going to work for every situation. So you have to address and dig to the roots of what it is of those situations, right? And that comes true for colleges, careers, not all campuses, not all programs, not all of the things that your friends are going to do are going to fit you and work for you. So think of the Band-Aid. You can always use this. And if anybody actually really does need a Band-Aid, I have a 5-year-old, so I have a pocket filled with them. I may even have mermaid ones. So I know that I only have a few more minutes, but I want to actually get to a few of your guys' questions. Is there anything that you guys have any questions on that you would like to know more about? Yeah.
Are you allowed to say what school it was?
Absolutely. University of Maryland, College Park, baby. I was there. That's why when Dominic was talking about it, I was like, yep, I know the statue. I've been there. And you really are not that tall. No, I see this. Yes, I was. That was me. Yeah. For 23 days. Right. 23 days. I ended up taking 2 years off, and then I did community college, and I got a job that paid for my college at Stevenson University by becoming an AmeriCorps Vista, and I had to find a workaround, right? I had to find a pivot. I had to find a new solution, and I did. And so it does happen, and yeah, it took me longer to go to college, but you know what? I ended up where I was supposed to be. And I ended up with the family I was supposed to have. And it didn't matter that my career path, as I'm watching and sitting in the hospital and watching my friends post, because it was MySpace at the time, and yes, I really am a dinosaur, I know that, but I'm watching all my friends post, like all their pictures and things, and I'm still stuck. I'm stuck in recovery. I'm stuck. And that's what I had to learn. I couldn't live my life for other people, and I couldn't live it for others' goals and expectations, because no one else was there. It was just me. And I had no one else to blame. I had no one else to be mad at. I had no one else to point a finger at. Because at the end of the day, it didn't matter how many fingers I pointed. I had to be the one that learned how to rewalk. I had to learn how to find a way to pay for a career and to pay for college when I couldn't. And I never thought that I needed to look for money for college. My parents were just normal people, and all of a sudden, here's $130,000 gone. Not including all the money that I was getting in from other stuff and endorsements at the time, so things like that happen. And it's that having to pivot and having to adjust and learning to adjust quickly. And I've never forgotten having, and actually the person that taught me the line is Coach James Franklin. He is Penn State head coach now for football. He used to be a strength and conditioning coach. Ironically, I trained under him for 1 year while I was like in my transition and getting recruited, and so that's how I knew that. So I can validate that there's a lot of other football players that know the same trick. But it just, I have traveled now nationally to over 400 colleges. I've taken students all over the United States. And do you know, as recruiters from our side, from working on the other side and buying students, do you know what the number one thing is in your applications that we look for? What's the number one word? Anyone? If I'm looking at you, you have 45 seconds to make an impact on me and for me to remember you. All right, what's the number one word I'm looking for?
Perseverance.
No. Good word, though. I like it. Could be number 2 or 3. That's the number 1. Yeah. Close? Closer? Who are you leading? What is leadership? How many of you guys are leaders? Yep. Everyone's hand should be up. That's right. Okay. So how does that make you stand apart? Exactly. It's initiative. So as you're thinking about if you want to be going to school or you want to be looking into programs or you're going to be applying for scholarships or things that are going to pursue your career pathways, however they may be, think about the words initiative and think about now your actions, the initiatives of when you're taking initiative to build somebody else up, to pour into someone else, to lead someone else, to become and help someone else grow and develop. That's the mark of a leader. That's what we're looking for. And when you're going through campus tours or you're going through tours, please, please, please remember, ask questions. Lots of questions. And if you don't know what questions to ask, look on my contact information. I have it there, and I will most graciously send you a really little cool flip card deck thing of the questions to ask in the different areas for your tours. But understand where you're going and why you're going and what the campus culture is, because just like that Band-Aid, they're not all the same. I thought they were too. I thought all of it was the same, but they're not. And there's going to be one fit for you and one thing for you. And if it isn't the right fit, draw a line, stay in that uncomfort space, quiet, whatever you need for as much as you need, but then take action and move forward and learn. Learn and grow. Those would be my biggest pieces of advice to you today. Any other questions or ideas? Anything you guys want to know more? Anyone? Who's looking at going to school? Yeah? Who knows what they want to do? Yeah? Okay. So you have 45 seconds in your applications to take and get an impression. My other recommendation is do not use your English professors or teachers to read your essays. You want to know why? Because on average, when we do recruitment and we read essays, we read about 2,000. And we're seconds on about 1,000, depending on your college or your school size. And do you want to know what I did not become and major in? I did not major in English. I don't want to read English essays. Nobody does, right? We don't do that. We were not English professors because we don't want to be an English professor. We don't want to read English essays. That's not what we're looking for. We're looking to be moved. We're looking to close our eyes and in 45 seconds, picture you. Hear your voice. Make us cry. Make us laugh. Give emotion. Express something that has been powerful and impactful to you. Something that could be completely raw. Something that could be completely challenging that you've had to overcome. That's the stuff that we want to know. You have to be vulnerable. And you have to be comfortable being vulnerable. And you have to talk about how you're picking up and using that, or how you're going to move forward, or how your resilience and what that grit is. That's what we want to learn. That way we can see you without even having to see you yet. So in here, again, you can see I also have different activities and things and little tools like yes and and asking the 5 whys. So if you don't understand why something is valuable to you, or why something hurts, why something is frustrating, why you can't solve a problem, ask yourself why 5 times at least. And if you do not have the ability to do this, have your friend dialogue with you. And it'll sound ridiculous. And then one day you'll be a parent, and then you'll realize that this is the most ridiculous conversation you'll have ever had. And your toddler will be having it back again with you. And again and again. And they will ask you why and why and why and why. But we ask why as toddlers to learn. So if something isn't right, or you're not sure, and you're trying to figure something out in leadership and development, and you're trying to figure out a group of people and how to lead them, start by making a statement and then ask why. And then keep asking why until you get to the root of it, because the root of it is going to be the value. That value is going to be what's true and guiding you. So the farther away from your values, if your value is family, or if your value is money, if your value is faith, and the decisions that you are making are completely opposite to that, and you have no idea that that is why your heart is passionate, and that's what keeps you here. If you're valuing your family and connections and your siblings, and you're choosing a school that's 3,000 miles away, and your family all of a sudden gets into a car crash, or your family is celebrating the holidays and you don't have the money to pay for a $400 plane ticket to get there, how are you going to feel? Right? Those things, knowing your values and what's truly important to you and to your heart and to your passion, is going to help guide you in your decisions moving forward. So please go on my site, on the app. I know everybody here has the app. And feel free to reach out to me. I can help you with any of your questions. I can give you tools and any of your college process if you want to go through that too. But I'm more than happy to answer any type of questions. All right. I think I'm right at time. I was told you guys had to leave. So am I chamber pupils? Am I good? Or everybody's got to go? Okay, perfect. All right, guys. Thank you. I apologize for the short and condensed, but thank you.